a good thing. So we're now bowl eligible. Yay! So now we got 2 games left. Vanderbilt this week and Florida State on Black Friday. So that should be interesting. So I'm trying to find my phone. There it
All
is.
right, watch out. Sorry, buddy. The dog in the
Yeah.
way.
Your dog?
The dog.
Alright. For some reason, I can't get it to come up on my computer.
What are
There
we
it
talking
is.
about?
I was trying to get it on my other computer so that I can check to see if anybody might be wanting to play in the chat today. So, Mike, you want to start us off the crappy results from last week, sir?
Yeah, let's throw those up there, Dave. Let's just take a look at
Shall
those.
we? Let's get this out of the way.
Let's just take a look at those. So as you can
I thought I
see,
had 4 wins.
yeah, you do. You got 4 up there. It's just hard to see, but you got 4.
Okay, 1, 2. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, you got 4. So yeah, I am. You still have that medal that's above your head for week
Yeah.
12. You still got it, but I'm only like 2.5 games back from you, brother.
2.5. All right.
So
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see if you hold on to it going into the last week.
Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna have to be ready, but I'm up for the challenge, Mike. I'm up for the challenge. I'm a bit competitive.
I love
You
it.
might have heard that.
I love
You
it.
might have heard that from Public House.
You might have heard that about me as well. All right, sir. Let's get these 12 going. And believe it or not, we agree on way more this week than we do not. So it'll be interesting for sure. We usually do pretty well on the games that we agree on. So
Yeah.
let's get it going early. We're gonna talk Buffalo Akron here. I love this game. So
I love
this has a great shot to be probably the best game of the week, if not the year, if it gets played. There is a chance that it could get moved. The NFL game just got moved to Detroit. The Bills Browns game that was supposed to be played on Sunday, and that was after they were supposed to get 3 to 6 feet worth of snow already on the ground for that Buffalo game. It got moved to Detroit. When that snow was going to fall is right at the time of this kickoff. It's a 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Buffalo, it's outside. I really hope that this game gets played. I'm really having a hard time seeing it get done. The good news is Buffalo, I think, is sort of on the outward shot of a potential conference title hope. So it's something that I think that they want to see happen. If it gets relocated, I don't know anymore. And I do like Buffalo against Akron to cover. I was really torn between that and the under in this, only because of the weather. But if it gets moved, then I wouldn't really lean necessarily towards the over under on it. I would probably lean towards Buffalo to get it done. Akron is bad, but that snow could be a factor, and I don't know necessarily if I got Buffalo by 2 touchdowns if it's a snowy game. It might be super low scoring. You never know. But I do like them to win. I like the under here, 45. Give me that under and hope that we get to see a really sweet snow game on Saturday. Who do you like here, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Mike. So Akron, we know they've only won 1 game this year. They're 1-8, and Buffalo is 5-5. Akron's probably going to play their backup this week. He was 47%, 225 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, obviously, if it's snowing like hell, he's not going to be throwing it a lot. While the Buffalo quarterback Snyder is 60%, 23, 36, 24 TDs, 7 touchdowns. The Zips have done okay against the spread. They're 5-5, and Buffalo is 6-3-1 against the spread. So, yeah, this this game's going to be cold as hell with lots of snow. Akron is 68 in offense and FBS, 93rd on defense. Akron is 20. Excuse me. The Buffalo's 24. No, excuse me. Buffalo 68 on offense, 93rd on defense. Akron 24th worst on defense, 85th on offense. Akron has not been able to run the ball this season, so that right there tells you it's going to be a problem in the snow if they can't run the ball.
Yep, absolutely.
And Buffalo has leaned on their rushing attack, which has been pretty decent. So that's kind of where it leads me to believe Buffalo's going to score more than Akron in the game. But I'm with you with weather being a factor. You know, damn, if they can get 30 points scored in this game, it'd probably be a miracle. So if the game's played where it's supposed to be, no doubt take the under. Definitely a Gator Day block.
All right, love that. Yeah, high of 31 on Saturday in Buffalo. So it's gonna be
And the winds are like 15 to 20, so they're not even going to be able
yeah.
to pass.
Yeah, I mean, I get why the NFL changed their game. You know, they're all about that money. They want people to be able to be in those seats. You know, and they need the concessions, all that. So they need people actually in the stadium. Man, I would love to see some action in the snow on Saturday.
And the thing is, you probably have to dig it out on ESPN Plus to see it, probably.
Yeah,
Look to see, more than likely, that's where you're going to have to dig it up. So
yeah, no doubt.
it's definitely worth taking a look at.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't have it, maybe this is the time to use that free trial for ESPN Plus. All right, next game we're going to talk here is going to be UConn Army. This is a side that we've both been on, both of these sides really, this year, last year specifically with Army. I mean, we talked Army so much last year. That was a team that I was heavy on. They covered a lot for us. But this year's a little different with this Army squad. You know, they changed the rules. They're not allowed to cut block outside the tackle anymore with these option squads. So that's really sort of hindered a lot of these teams. It's really reduced some of these rushing yards that they've been able to put up in recent years. And you can see that with Army. And they also lost a couple of key guys, like their quarterback Anderson and some other guys. So they're just not the same squad. They really aren't. On the other side, you got UConn, who really isn't the same squad as last year. I mean, Jim Mora Jr. has them absolutely clicking. He's got them bowl eligible for the first time, and I have no idea how long. He's got, incredible job. If he doesn't win Coach of the Year, I would be extremely, extremely surprised. I think he deserves it in every sense. I hope that he does not go to a big-time school and sort of, develops UConn back to a power. I'd love to see it. I think that would be a really cool story. But I think ultimately it's going to be UConn here. I'm not a huge fan of UConn's run defense in this situation against Army. But I think the fact that they're riding a little high right now and Army's on that opposite side. Army just got their 7th loss, so they are not bowl eligible. They don't really have too much to play for. I mean, now granted, you are going to get Army's best because it's Army. It's not like they're going to roll over and just let it happen. But it's a game that I feel confident enough with that 10-line hook that I think UConn's able to keep this one close. So give me the Huskies. We'll take them plus 10. Who do you like here, Dave?
All right, so UConn again comes in 6-5, looking well and bowl eligible. Army is only 3-6. Turner for UConn is throwing at 61%, 11-26, 9-5. The latest quarterback, Tyler, is 7 of 16, 44%, 2 touchdowns and an interception. But he's had 91 rushes for 430 yards. So obviously it's the Army offense there. Interesting fact here that makes you really want to go with it is UConn is 9-2 against the spread. I don't think any team that we're looking at this week has done that well against the spread. Army is 4-5. UConn has
That's right.
UConn runs the ball 70% of the time, so this is going to be a slow game. Lots of running, right? Um, UConn's got a good O line, and overall, Army's had just a disappointing year. Um, One thing to note: UConn's last 3 wins have been at home, so they're going on the road here. So have to be wary of that, and that's probably why that Army is favored in this game. I am going to say, for the show's sake, give me UConn at plus 10 points, and I honestly believe bet a little money on the side that they could easily hit the money line in this game, and I'm going to call that 10 a Gator Day lock, but a side bet might be to bet UConn and the money line.
Right on. Yeah, I'm kind of more nervous about it than I don't know if I'm willing to put a lock on it just yet, especially with all this bad weather and cold weather that it looks like we're gonna have this weekend up northeast and kind of on the East Coast here. Um, Also, so I don't know. I do lean Connecticut though. I'm glad we're on the same page so far. Another note too about this UConn team. Remember, this is a team that lost their starting quarterback at the beginning of the year, Roberson. I mean, this is without their QB1 too, and they're doing this. So it's the hopes are high in UConn for the seasons to come. All right. Next game we're going to talk here is going to be USC UCLA. I'm going to let you take this one, Dave, while I grab a water.
All right, we'll do it. So I put this game up at the beginning because I wanted to have at least one of these, rivalry games on the board. There's several that are out there this week. Not as much as will be in a couple of weeks, but USC comes in at 9-1, UCLA 8-2. Last week, disappointing loss to Arizona. Caleb Williams throwing it at 64%, 3,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. We know they got the offense. Thompson Robinson throwing at 71%, 23, 85, 20, and 4. So it's definitely battle of the quarterbacks in this particular game. Both teams are 6-4 against the spread. UCLA won this game last year 62-33. But we all know USC is different now. They have an offense. They ain't playing. DTR has been talking a ton of smack on the West Coast out there, basically saying he's going to put up 60 points on USC. And just so everyone knows, the over-under in this game is 75.5. Was the last I saw. Tyler Dye. Oh, it's higher than that now? What is it now?
77.
77. All right. So 77 points. So that means if DTR's right, it's 60 to 17 or 18. But Travis Dye, running back for USC, is out for the year. He was their bell cow on that rushing attack. Again, like I said, UCLA lost to Arizona, who's not that good, last week. Neither one of these teams have very good defenses. We know and have heard USC didn't, the coach focused on, trying to get that offense going and rolling with all the folks in the portal that he could this year, but he hasn't done that good a job on the defensive side of the ball. Both the offenses are ranked in the top 10, so obviously this is definitely going to be an air show. So in this particular game, I am really going out on a limb. And now, Mike, you said 77, thank you.
Yep.
So Gator Dave is going out on a limb and saying, because this is one of those rivalry games, that they're going to find some defense, and I'm taking the under in this one, Mike.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, we got our first conflict then, Gator Dave, because I'm on the over here.
I'm sure you are, Mike.
I do not think that DTR and UCLA will necessarily put up 60 on USC. They did last year. They beat USC by 29 in that game, and they really kicked the Trojans when they were down. Roles are a little reversed right now. UCLA just lost, like you mentioned. I think that they were looking ahead to this game a little bit, and they, got caught slipping against an up and coming Arizona team, which I think we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but I could be mistaken. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of points here. Travis Dye being gone for USC is a massive, massive hit. That team is built on those transfer starters right now that Lincoln Riley was able to bring in. If they start dropping, USC's value is going right with it. Both of these teams easily could be playoff teams. USC is a one-loss squad right now, and they barely lost that game. They could be easily undefeated right now with a shot at this playoff. UCLA, sort of same boat. These two losses, kind of fluke losses, sort of beat themselves. So it's going to be a really great game. Prime time. It's going to be a sellout in the Rose Bowl for UCLA. They got about 70,000 tickets sold in there. So it'll be rocking for the first time in a while. Yeah, right. I think it's going to be a lot of red. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be one. It earned its primetime slot, but I think there's going to be a lot of points. These defenses are not good, and I think exactly what you said. It's going to be an air show. It's just going to be an absolute back and. I could see it being one play touchdown, kickoff, one play touchdown, kickoff, like that sort of game. So, yeah, give me the over. It is a lot of points. Typically, something to note is that when you do hit that 70-point mark or over in college football, typically it's about 60% or more to the under. It leans that once that number hits 70 or more, typically it does lean to the under. So that, unfortunately, goes for you. It goes against me. Something to note, last week, for comparison, we talked Oregon-Washington, that game, that over-under, that went under. It was like 73. Then we also talked UNC-Wake. That over-under was sort of right where this number was, right at that 77. That also went under. Everybody said it was going to go over. So just something to note, once you hit that 70 mark, it becomes a lot more rare for that over to actually hit. Favors you, not so much me. I'm going against the trend. Give me the over. All right. Next game we're going to talk here is going to be Washington State, Arizona State. It is at Arizona State. Oh, this one's Arizona? Okay. Oh, yeah. Arizona State, Washington State just played, I think, last week. Okay. Washington State, Arizona. This one's in Arizona, right? It's not in, it's not in Pullman. Okay. So, this is a revenge game for Arizona's quarterback, Jaden DeLora. He used to be the quarterback for the Cougs before he transferred down there to Arizona. Jed Fish is the head coach. I just mentioned him a little bit ago. Absolutely love this guy, Arizona's head coach. He was the OC at Miami back in the early Al Golden days when Al Golden actually had a shot to be something decent at Miami before he sort of lost those good assistants he hired initially, and then hired his buddies. We're not going to get down that road. We're getting off that ship. Ultimately, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I like the better defense in this one. I like Washington State. I think they're just on a different mission right now. Arizona is still playing for something. They could win out, win their last two games. They got this one, and they got Arizona State next week. If they win those, they're bowl eligible. So they're still playing for something. Washington State already has 6 wins. They've already locked that up. That's pretty much all that they got. They're just playing for positioning at this point now. And, momentum going into next week or next year. Cam Ward, the quarterback who came over with the head coach from Incarnate Word, is an absolute beast. In his last 4 games, he's got 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was a little spotty earlier at the beginning of the year with the turnovers. I think he was trying to do too much. But now they've really started to settle him in, get him in a nice rhythm, nice flow of the offense where they like him and, where he can be he can still go after these big plays, but he can also sort of take care of the football a little bit better and make better decisions. And you've seen that. Defense is playing lights out behind him. So I'm just going to keep riding these Cougs till the wheels fall off. And if you're giving me 3.5, 4, I think that these lines are disrespectful to Washington State. They've sort of been sketchy right on that 3-5 in these last couple games that they've been playing, these teams. and they are just dominating. They are blowing it out. It makes you look at the line. It doesn't really make sense, and you can't really figure out why it is. It makes you hesitant. Don't be hesitant. Ride the better defense. Cam Ward. I think Jaden Delora is going to try to do too much for Arizona. He's going to get out of his game plan. Um, so yeah, and that defense is going to know him too. I mean, they practiced against him how long? They're going to know, some sort of weaknesses. They're going to want to sack him, get after him, get a turnover. Um, so yeah, give me Washington State money line here. I think the Lions at -3.5. Um,
Better, right?
yeah,
So, in this game, we got Washington State at 6-4, like I said, already bowl eligible. Arizona at 4-6, trying to get there. Cameron Ward, what's the name of the school this kid came from again?
Incarnate Word. He came with
All
the head
right,
coach.
and dude is now playing, in the Power Five, shooting at 64%, throwing up 25-79 on yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Killing it.
That's just badass. I mean,
Killing it.
Delora, 63%, 3,000 yards, 24 and 8.
Killing it.
Washington State is 7-3 against the spread. The Wildcats are 6-4, not too bad. Arizona took care of UCLA last week, but I'm calling that fluke. And UCLA looking ahead, like you said. Delore's done a good job, but their defense blows. They're giving up 40 points a game.
Not great.
They are ranked fifth worst in FBS for yards allowed.
Mm.
So Washington State is gonna throw that thing and run that thing all over Arizona. Washington State's got a good defense. So, I didn't call this one earlier as a Gator Day block, but man, it's easy to say Washington State in this game in the money line. Very, very easy. This is a good, solid team against an erratic team that has no defense. Yeah, they're playing Arizona, but I don't care. Washington State in the money line.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think this is my lock. I think this game is the one that I like the most this week, honestly. Um, I you know I think this number is a little bit where it is right now because of what Arizona did against UCLA last week.
It's one. Yeah, you
I,
can't do that, man.
I'm telling you, jump on this while you can. This number I think is going to go up as we get closer to Saturday. I think this one's I'm with you. I like this one a lot. All right, we're going to keep in the Pac-12 here. We're going to keep actually in that Arizona squad. We're going to go to Arizona State, Oregon State here. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Arizona State has hit that 7-loss mark. When teams hit that 7-loss mark in the year, they give up, especially now with this NIL deal season, with the transfer portal, with the draft, and these kids that are sitting out bowl games and sitting out conference championships and everything else to prepare for the NFL draft. Once you hit that 7-win mark as a program, these guys often check out. They start looking forward to their future, what they're doing next, because there is no postseason hopes at that point. So now they either got 1 game left or 2 games left. Arizona State has been an absolute roller coaster ride for that program all year long with what was going on with Herm Edwards and his coaching staff. They had a bunch of transfers come in. Nothing has really sort of gotten right. They went back to Emory Jones last week after they were down 28-0 to that Washington State team that we just mentioned. Emory Jones able to, put up 18, made that game look a little closer than it was, 28-18. But man, they got some serious disarray going on in Arizona right now. Oregon State is sort of on that opposite side. They've been pretty consistent all year long. I mean, a couple bad games, they could be right there in this playoff talk as well. No joke, no buts about it. They're 7-3, sitting pretty. They got a great defense. I think that they have gotten no respect all year long. And they still have a shot to play in the Pac-12 championship. Granted, it is kind of an outward shot for them to do it, but they have one. So I think Arizona State is unfortunately going to get their best game. I think it's going to be really bad for senior day in Tempe. So give me Oregon State -7, and I think that's it might be a lock as well for me. What do you like here, Dave?
All right, so Oregon State 7-3, Arizona State 3-7. Looking at the quarterbacks, the Goberson for Oregon State 62%, 10-42, 7-3. He's not wasn't their starter. He's their backup, and it looks like this Trenton will be back, and our ex Gator will be sitting on the bench where he belongs. So the Trenton Bourgeois or whatever his name is looks like he's going to play. He's the 71%, 992, 84, which it's better than Emory, but it ain't that. OSU 8-2 against the spread, Mike. I mean that's pretty freaking good. Arizona State is 4-6. Um, just so you know, Arizona State has now lost their third starting offensive lineman. Um, when you're talking out there in a conference like that, that's trouble. When I looked at crossover games here, Washington State, OSU won by 14, ASU lost by 10. Stanford, OSU won by 1, ASU lost. Colorado, OSU won by 31, ASU by 7. Um, Oregon State's ranked 73rd in scoring, while ASU is 145. Oregon State's defense 70 in points given up. ASU 197. I see why you put this one up there, Mike, because this is another one that just looks. I mean, 7 points, man. Give me that in a minute. This could be a drumming.
Yeah.
I mean, Oregon State easy money -7.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think the number is where it is because it is Arizona State Senior Day. They did put up some of a fight last week against Washington State, but man, I just don't think there's any heart left on that team. So I don't really think they give a shit about Senior Day, to be frank. They play at Arizona next week. Honestly, I think that's a game too to look at Arizona. I think looking ahead, that might be one that we're throwing on for next week for sure in rivalry week.
More important to Arizona State right here, which this is another good one.
Yeah.
Good throw, Mike.
Yep. All right. Let's go to TCU Baylor now. Let's go to that number 4 team in the playoff. They're at Baylor. Baylor just got absolutely decimated at home against Kansas State, 45-3. I mean, brutal. I know how it is. I don't think that's very reflective of this Baylor team, though. And I think Dave Aranda is going to have these guys ready to go this week. It's a home game. They don't really have too much to play for anymore. Their playoff hopes are sort of out the window. Conference hopes sort of out the window. They're sitting at 6-4, so not great. They are bowl eligible, so they do have a postseason to look forward to. But honestly, they win this game. That 30-40 point loss at home that to Kansas State just happened, that gets erased. That gets forgot about in people's minds. You beat that number 4 squad in the nation. It's all gravy, baby. So I think that's something that could very well happen here. It's a 12 o'clock game. Does TCU get up for this game? Does Baylor get up for this game? It's going to be a local kickoff, I think, of 11 a.m. there. Man, give me Baylor. Give me Baylor. Give me the home squad. Give me Baylor +3. I think it's going to be a close game. I love this TCU team. I've been high on them all year. Their offense is elite. Max Dugan is a dog. He's got absolute monsters out there, wide receiver. Quentin Johnson is a first-round pick for sure when he goes. But I don't know. I think there's going to be a little bit more fight in this Baylor team than what we've seen lately. And I think Aranda's going to get them started. And if you can't get up for the number 4 team coming to your backyard, wanting to kick your ass on their way to their playoff shot, and after being blown out the week before and in your backyard, you shouldn't be at Baylor. So give me Baylor. Give me Baylor +3. Let's ride. What do you like here, Dave?
All right, TCU undefeated, number 4 in the nation. Baylor 6-4. Gator Dave's pick to win the big. All right.
Poquito, just a little bit.
It's all right. So, still in one of my picks, though. I'm still in the Purdue still has a chance to
Stop
win
it.
the West.
Stop it.
Purdue still has a
Stop it,
chance
Dave.
to win the Big Ten West. All right.
Hey,
So
you know
let's
what?
look at
If
our
Purdue
picks.
wins the Big Ten West, I'll buy you a boat.
Yes.
How about that?
You buy me a boat?
I'll buy you a boat. It's on record. If Purdue wins the
All
Big
right.
Ten West, Gator Dave's becoming Captain Dave.
All right. So Captain Gator Dave. So Scott, public house, you guys got that. All right. So Max Duncan, like you said,
It's
just
gonna be a little
whacking on
Matchbox boat.
66%. I know what you're saying. 66%, 25, 31 on yards, 25 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Chapin's at 66%, 21-54, but only 13-8. TCU is 8-1-1 against the spread. Baylor's 6-4. Like you said, Baylor got slammed 31-3 last week with K-State. TCU won this game last year.
Yep.
Only by 2,
Yep.
30-28.
At home.
TCU's defense shut down Texas last week. And they made our Mr. Cool Ears, Quentin Ewers, look like dog shit. I think he passed for like 40% or something like that.
Look like Joe Dirt.
He did. But TCU's offense had trouble, And TCU has been their games, and I just didn't have time to look at the stats. But if you look at TCU at halftime, and I know because we bet on them almost every week.
Yep.
You go, oh shit, they're losing near halftime or not winning by enough, but somehow second half they come back and blow the doors off.
Yep.
Baylor's secondary hasn't looked real good lately, so that's obviously good for Duncan. I don't think their defense overall is where it needs to be right now. I mean, maybe next year. And like I said, TCU's offense didn't look that great against Texas, but it is Texas. And I believe they were playing at Texas.
Yep.
But I think this one, as much as I love Baylor at the beginning of the year, I think when you look at all the numbers, where things fall out, that it's pretty easy for me here to take TCU and the money line.
All right. Right on. All right. So that's the second one that we've disagreed on through 6, believe it or not. So we're on the other side pretty frequently. All right, let's go to Texas Tech, Iowa State here. Let me make this actually bigger in the graphic. You go ahead with this one, Dave.
All right, so Texas Tech comes in at 5-5, and Iowa State at 4-6. My heart's kind of a little Texas Tech because again, it goes back to me working in the Lubbock area for a number of years when I worked for FedEx. Good people there in that area.
Was that when you were a dancer?
Yeah, I was a dancer for FedEx, right? That was it.
No, down in Lubbock, on the side.
Yeah, right. But so I got a little something for Texas Tech. Been to a game, great atmosphere there, but this one's at Iowa State. Shaw, whatever his name is for Texas Tech, is at 54%, 491, 3-2. That's who's going to be the QB for Texas Tech because they're on like their second or third quarterback. Deckers will be QBing for Iowa State. He's at 67%, 26-44, 17-13. Ooh, almost as bad as AR. Tech is 5-5 against the spread. Iowa State's 4-6 against the spread. Now, not real sure that Shaw is going to be the guy that starts for Texas Tech. Could be another quarterback, but I'm not taking that into account in this particular situation. Texas Tech won the game last year 41-38 at home. Iowa State is 1-6 in their last 7 games. The running game for Iowa State is coming in at a blazing 112th in the country. Iowa State's defense have issues holding on to the ball, turn the ball over a lot. Um, the weather, just so you know, in Iowa State will be 10 degrees, 8 to 10 mile an hour winds. So Deckers, I don't know, all that 2,600 yards is going to matter in this game. Texas Tech defense giving up a lot of big plays, but if Iowa State can't throw the ball, it might not be that much of an issue. But this particular game, because I'm not real sure, I'm going to go the weather route and say the under 48 points in this game. I know it's a Big 12 game, but I think it's going to be a factor, and I am going the under on this one.
Right on. I am going to go Iowa State money line, and here is why. It is senior day in Iowa. They are 4-6, so they have had a very, very disappointing year, as you mentioned. Hunter Deckers, he was supposed to be a monster for that offense this year and just hasn't done it. He hasn't been able to take care of the football. Iowa State's defense still is elite. That's sort of the only reason they've won these 4 games that they have. I think that they're going to be able to backpack this offense and this win at home. They get it done for the seniors. I think Matt Campbell rallies the troops and gets these guys going. They still have something to play for. They still have a shot at bowl eligibility. They got to win this game, and then they also play TCU next week. So, but in order to do that, they got to get there through this one first. I don't think they're going to win that game next week. So, this one especially would mean a lot to these seniors. Last game at home. Then you got a Texas Tech team who's 5-5. Generally, a team that is 5-5 and they're on the road. They don't necessarily do that great, historically speaking. So I'm sort of just riding with those trends. I think Iowa State is able to do enough on the ground to sort of get that, feeling from Deckers to where he's got to do it all. And I think that defense ultimately turns the Texas Tech over. I think that's what the difference is. I think it's low scoring, like you said. I'm looking more like 21-17, that type of deal. But I like Iowa State here. So we'll see what happens. Next game we're going to go to is going to be Kansas and Texas. Ugh, Gator Dave. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet.
This one's easy, Mike. This one's easy, buddy.
Yeah, I'm keeping it short and sweet. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm probably not going to get to the window on it personally. This is one that, yes, it should be easy in theory, but man, based off of where we've seen both of these teams peak at and bottom out this year, I don't want nothing to do with this game. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm going to take Kansas plus 8.5. They beat Texas last year by 1, sort of shocked the world. They got their backup quarterback. They've had him for most of the year this year. They're supposed to get Jalen Daniels back for this game. It's a home game. It's senior day for Kansas. That place is going to be sold out. It's going to be rowdy. You got the revenge factor for Texas coming back. Texas just lost last week. Their offense was stifled. Kansas does not have that good of a defense, so it's not going to be an issue in this game. It's a lot of points, though. It's a lot of points. You're over that key mark of 7 as well. So that's really where I'm at with it. I'm not, super confident one way or another. I do like that Jalen Daniels is coming back for this game. I think that's big, but he's been out for, 6 weeks. It's going to be hard for him to, be right back at midseason form immediately. I'm not a huge fan of it, but give me the points. What do you like here, Dave?
Good call, Mike. So both teams coming at 5-4. Quentin Ewers is he's rocking it at 55%, 1507, 16-3. I put Bean up here because we're not 100% that Daniels is coming back, but Bean's throwing at 65, 1256, 14-4. Texas is 6-4 against the spread. Kansas is 6-2-2, slightly better. Yours looked like dog shit last week against TCU. numbers are crashing and burning. He's going in the wrong direction. Um, Playing at Kansas is huge. Last year they beat Texas at Texas. I mean, like you said, this place will be rocking. Okay, they get Daniels back. He can perform. It'd be awesome. 33 degrees during the game. 15-mile-an-hour winds. Kansas is going to be up for this game, and I think Leipold is, and he's done such a great job. I think he can stick it to him. I mean, I really think he can stick it to him. And getting 9 points here,
Yep.
I mean, to me, it's a gimme. We know Robinson's going to run the ball for Texas, but man, give me Kansas and 9 points all day long.
Right on.
I feel much more confident than you do in this game, Mike. I think you should feel good about it.
All right.
Granted, if you don't want to go to the window, don't. We don't want to jinx that, but I feel pretty good, bro.
All right. Noted. All right, we're going to go to this other team in Kansas, Kansas State. They're playing West Virginia in West Virginia. Neil Brown is on the hot seat for that West Virginia team, but they're still alive. They're 4-6. They're still bowl eligible. Potential there for them. They have to win out in their last 2 games. They have this game against Kansas State at home. And then they got at Oklahoma State next week. So not too easy of a task for them to do. Kansas State is coming off of that absolute romp that we mentioned earlier of Baylor at Baylor, 31-3. Just absolutely demolished them in their home stadium. Kansas State's looking great right now. They're looking like they have a real shot for this Big 12 championship. They can make some noise. Will Howard is playing out of his mind. I think he's going to go in this game for Adrian Martinez. Adrian Martinez, I'm pretty sure, is out for a while with an injury now officially.
That's right.
I think this is the game that gets Neil Brown fired. I think that they do lose this one. They become 4-7, lose that bowl eligibility, and Neil Brown is fired by Monday. Give me Kansas State -7.5. I think they handle West Virginia pretty good, 38-21, something like that, to keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. What do you like here, Dave?
So, Mike, should we buy the half point and go to 7, sir? You being the
Yeah, we'll take them down to 7. But
half point's cheap, right?
But 7.5 is where it's at right now. So it just depends. Some books will let you buy points on solo bets. Most of them aren't going to let you buy points if you're doing like a parlay or something. So it just depends.
All right. However they do it. All right. Kansas State 7-3, West Virginia 4-6. Will Howard, like Mike said, is probably going to be the starting quarterback for Kansas State. He's been at 63%, 7-17, 9-1. Not too shabby. Mr. Green for West Virginia, who has taken the place of JT Daniels, who is now on the bench. He's at 54%, 241, 2-0. Now, we might see JT. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Kansas State 7-3 against the spread. West Virginia 5-5. And right here on my sheet, Mike, I think Coach Brown is about done. West Virginia ranks 54th in offense and 101st in defense. K-State 45 in offense, 48 in defense. West Virginia beat OU last week, which, kept Brown around for another week, right? But OU, we know where they are. They're really kind of like Florida, you really can't tell. Both teams have beaten Baylor this year. A team to beat, right? But K-State beat them by 28. West Virginia only beat them by 3. West Virginia's playing their backup QB and Mr. Green, which doesn't help things. I'm easily taking Kansas State here at -7 or 7.5 if you're running a parlay.
Right on. Next game we're going to go to here is going to be Vatech Liberty. Liberty is given points here, -10 at home against this Virginia Tech team. This is a game that I really didn't want to address at all. It's a battle of in-state schools. Liberty obviously is the smaller school to Virginia Tech. These teams are drawing just different trends right now. Hugh Freeze has these guys rolling. They just beat Arkansas, but then they stumbled last week to that UConn team that we mentioned earlier, 36-33. On the road, they are back home now against Virginia Tech. They're sitting at 8-2. I wanted to take Virginia Tech on these points. I feel like Vegas is begging people to take Virginia Tech with this point where the line is right now at 10. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. This Virginia Tech team is so bad. They're so bad. Defense is bad. Offense is bad. Liberty is going to get up for this game. They lost to UConn last week. They're going to be disappointed, but I'm telling you, Hugh Freeze is going to have these guys ready to go. One thing about Liberty specifically is they play up to their competition and sometimes play down a little bit. I think that was the issue last week. They overlooked UConn. They saw Virginia. That was that nice sandwich game for them. They had Arkansas in front. Then they got UConn, typical cupcake that not many people really got to consider, and you're still going to get the win for typically. And then this week you got Vatech. So it was the nice, spot for them to choke, and they did. But now they have that Vatech team that they were looking ahead to. I think they absolutely handle them. I could see it being like 31-10. I think this one's a potential lock. I don't have it on my sheet right now as, going to the line or going to the window with it, but I may have to do that. I may have to do it the more we're talking about it. Who do you like here, Dave?
All right. So Virginia Tech 2-8, Liberty 8-2. Grant Wells for Vatech is 58%, 2,023 yards, 9-9. Bennett for Liberty is 59%, 1364, 12-9. Virginia Tech is only 3-7 against the spread. Liberty's 5-5. Liberty comes off a loss to UConn, obviously last week, big letdown. Liberty is 11-1 against the spread at home. Now, most teams they probably play at home are not Power 5 teams, but right now, Virginia Tech doesn't look like a Power 5 team, so let's leave it at that. They're strong at home. Okay? Liberty has had a number of injuries. Virginia Tech's offense is dog crap. Liberty's defense has come around as of late in the last number of games, so looking pretty good. I don't think Liberty should have any problem at all scoring on the Hokies.
Yep.
The game's at home. They're in a great spot. Tech has zero to play for. Absolutely zero. They got the new coach. He's going to be staying around. It's like, whatever. I think this one's pretty easy, taking Liberty in the 10 points in this game.
Yeah. It's going to be sunny, high of 49. So no real weather issues, though. But, yeah, it's going to be cold, though. So these guys that are sitting at 2-8, like you're mentioning, with nothing to play for other than just beating Little Brother, who Virginia Tech, historically speaking, has had very much of an issue with beating littler schools, especially ones within the state of Virginia. I think that one's a good pick for sure. All right, we're gone. We've been through 10. We got 2 picks left, and then I'm going to throw a surprise game at you this week, so let's get through them. Next game we're going to talk here is Ole Miss against Arkansas, I believe, right? In Arkansas?
That is correct. Ole Miss at Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. I like Ole Miss money line here. I just think they're on a different path than this Arkansas team right now. I believe Arkansas, let me pull up the game here just to make sure. Yeah, so Arkansas is 5-5. They still have something to play for. They can still get that bowl eligibility. Ole Miss 8-2. They're out of the SEC West and the SEC championship race. They're out of the playoff race. So at this point, they're just playing for a better bowl game, to get on a better TV spot, get some better perks, get a better trip for their guys. But really, not too much to play for there. It's a night game at home for Arkansas. It's going to be senior day. Uh, I don't really like it too much one way or another. Wasn't stoked to see it on there. I think KJ Jefferson. This has all the lines of making for a sneaky Arkansas win, and everybody's sort of back in the good graces of Sam Pittman. They're having some program issues. They're having some guys that are, no longer with the team. Guys that are quitting on the team. Things of that nature. So they've got some toxicity in that culture that they got to get a check on. We know all too well about that personally, unfortunately. So, this is a game that I think that they have a shot in. Their offense has not competed these last 2 weeks. They haven't even passed that 20-point mark against teams like Liberty and also LSU last week. So it's going to be a tough one way or another. But I'm just going to go with the Ole Miss and the running game. I think they'll do enough to get it done here. And one thing about Lane Kiffin, he doesn't really care. One way or another about the scenarios or the stories of the season. He wants to see production. And if he's got to be the bad guy and sort of, kick that other team's ass to make himself and this team feel good, he's going to do that. And I love that about him. So, yeah, give me Ole Miss money line. Let's do it. What do you like here, Dave?
By the way, the Lane Train, I believe he is got a new contract since
Mm,
the Auburn job has um, come around.
throwing some
The
extra
latest
dollars at him, huh?
phrase 5 hours ago, Lane Kiffin has offered to become one of the highest paid coaches in
Wow.
college football. All right,
So offered, so did he sign it, though?
yeah, it hasn't happened yet, but you know he is.
Mm. But he
Yeah,
hasn't signed. Usually, that when something like that gets announced, though, it's usually because the person has signed it. So that's interesting that it's just an offer and it didn't come out as that sign. Maybe there is something to these rumors of the Lane
rumors
train
of
moving
Auburn.
on.
Who knows? Who knows? But Ole Miss comes in at 8-2. Arkansas 5-5. Darts at 61%. 23-23, 15-7. KJ, who we think is going to play, is at 67%. 1981, 17-3. Ole Miss is only 4-5-1 against the spread, and Arkansas is 5-5 again. So we're kind of teetering along right down the line. Now, Jefferson's not 100% that he is playing, but he could very well. If he doesn't, then it's easy money. I'll be honest with you. Without KJ, I don't think they can beat him.
Yep.
Um, they really don't throw the ball much anyway. Ole Miss's defense hasn't been that great this year, which it never is. The big question is, can Ole Miss come out, and get up from that almost win against Alabama, which I think they will, because I think Kiffin, he's so damn laid back, and he's like, screw it, let's put it behind us and let's go kick some ass.
Right.
One of the things I noticed in my research was that Junkin, their freshman running back that's all world, is start getting tired toward the end of the game, so that's definitely something to think about. Dart's been a little bit inconsistent. Um, I think this game is going to be ground and pound. So I don't think the quarterback is going to be that much of a factor. Obviously, if Jefferson comes back, he can run the ball better than the other kid. But it's definitely going to be ground and pound, lots of running. But I'll be honest with you. I just think I have confidence in Kiffin being able to come out here and win this game. He's won a lot of big games this year, and I think he's going to continue the streak here because I had Ole Miss doing relatively well.
Right.
I might have had them second in the West.
Yeah, I think you
Might
had.
have had
I
them
think you had
second
him at 10 wins.
in the very beginning because I thought he did better than anyone in the portal.
Yeah.
And then this kid Junkin comes along and makes it even better. So I think he's going to do it. And I think Ole Miss and the money line's the play here.
Yep. I think you're on it. All right, sir. Last game. Your Gators are taking on the Commodores of Vandy in Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be cold. You guys are favored by 14. Again, I'm going to keep it short and sweet on my end. I like the Gators minus 14. The only thing that sort of made me hesitant on it is that, potential look ahead spot here. If you guys get caught looking ahead to that Florida State game next week, Florida State is actually in a much better position than we would have thought that they were going to be at the beginning of the year going into that game. So it's a pretty big game for the Gators every year. How much are they looking forward to that game against this Vandy team that doesn't really have anything to play for at this point of the season? But yeah, I'm with you. Let's do Florida minus 14 here. Who do you like in this game? Are you on your Gators or you on Vandy?
So I think that Napier's going to have them on the path this time. I mean, I think what has emerged in the last couple of games. Granted, we haven't played a great talent, but most of our schedule at the beginning of the year was against top 25 teams. We had one of the toughest schedules, in the country and in the SEC of anyone if you really go back and look at it. Um, and I think we're starting to finally, understand Napier's, concepts, the defense, the offense, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is that defense. They have gone 6 quarters now without anyone scoring on them. Granted, it was Texas A&M and it was South Carolina, but Vanderbilt ain't much better, if
No.
not of any of them.
Yep.
So Florida's 6-4, Vandy's 4-6, Richmond's at 55%, 1951, 11-7. Mike Wright, who I think is going to be the starter, which if they're smart, they would start him because notoriously we haven't done as well against running quarterbacks. So he's at 57%, 838, 9-3. Florida's 6-4 against the spread, which is relatively respectable. Vandy is only 4-6. Florida is 34th in the nation in offense. Vanderbilt's 65th. Like I said, we've really seen that Gator D improve dramatically. I mean, I've looked at film, all that stuff. I mean, they really do look better.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a fluke. I think they'll continue to work for Billy. I really do in this situation. So I think they continue to roll. Our O line is when the year's over, you're gonna look at our O line. It's one of the best in the nation. We're gonna lose a couple of the guys. We're gonna have a guy probably go into first or front part of the second round. But our O line's awesome, and I think they're gonna stop Vandy from doing anything, which should give Richmond plenty of time. Richmond does better on the road throwing the ball than he does at home,
Hmm.
which is kind of interesting. And our running game right now, like I told you last week, I feel that our two running backs, Johnson and Etienne, that duo are probably in the top 5 in the country right now. And last week, both over 100 yards. Richmond over 100 yards. Go look at the stats per rush, Miguel, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, Richmond needs to freaking find his damn receivers and get the ball to them instead of throwing it behind them and such. But I feel pretty good about where we are at this point. I think it's going to be a letdown game, which I'm not really big on all some of that emotional stuff. But I think Vandy won their SEC game last week. Rah rah rah, shish boom bah. Against Kentucky.
Yep. Riding high.
Have a little bit of a letdown, and I promise you, the Gators are going to be ready, and they're going to win by more than 14 points in this game. So my Gators at minus 14.
All right. Right on. Let me throw up the recap here. I'll go through it real quick. I'm going to give you that surprise game. You can go ahead and sit on it while I go through these. It's going to be the Miami-Clemson game, sir, and we're going to talk about it.
Oh, shit, I had that one.
So you think about that one, and then I'll go through these. So we got Buffalo, Akron, under. Both of us are on that. We're both on UConn plus 10 against Army. I'm on the over of USC, UCLA. You're on the under. We're both on Washington State money line against Arizona. We're both on Oregon State -7 against Arizona State. I'm on Baylor +3. You're on TCU money line. I'm on Iowa State money line. You are on the under in that game against Texas Tech. We're both on Kansas +8.5 at home against Texas. We're both on Kansas State -7 on the road against West Virginia. We're both on Liberty -10 at home against Va Tech. We're both on Ole Miss money line on the road against Arkansas, and we're both on your Gators -14 on the road to Vandy. That is your recap.
Only three we didn't agree upon.
Yeah, and only 2 head to head out of those 3. Only 2 real head to head.
Okay.
So yeah, not a whole lot of potential movement here. You're sort of dodging. You're sort of dodging it this week.
We only had 5 people on the show tonight, so it's like, man, they got to listen up and listen to what we're talking about. So, Mike, you got to go to the window, just load it up on these games there, brother. So, all right. So we got Miami and we got Clemson, and I had this game, but I took it off because I found other games that I like better than this particular game.
That's fair.
So we know where we are here with Clemson only losing the one game, so
Yep.
they're 9-1. Miami's 5-5, right?
Yep.
And you're playing to get bowl eligible. All you need is one more win. This is the toughest win because who do you have next week, Mike?
We got Pitt at home, Pittsburgh at home to end the season. It's a night game.
This one's gonna be tough. This one obviously the tougher game, but shit, I know you guys are gonna come out and they're gonna be trying and they've got to do it. But you know and we talked a little before the game and before the show and that point spread being now 19 points. I'll be honest with you, I'm not impressed with Clemson. They're I was I thought that freshman quarterback was going to be better. I thought we'd be seeing him now, playing. I knew DJ wasn't the answer. And we talked about this in our first show, that I didn't think DJ was the answer, and that I thought Klubnik would be the guy that they would go to latter part of the year because you know how Jimbo has done. I mean, not Jimbo, but Dabo has done in the latter parts of the year. But evidently, this kid's not as good as what everyone perceived. And I think there's a lot of turmoil here. And Miami has the potential to put up points. Van Dyke can throw the ball. They can score. I just think 19 points is way damn too many right now in this game, and I feel pretty confident in taking 19 plus 19 in Miami in this game, Mike.
Right on. I love that. So a couple things to note. Van Dyke is not going to go for Miami. He's still dealing with that shoulder. Yep, he's still dealing with that shoulder, so it's going to be Kerry Brown again. Our third string, true freshman at the beginning of the year, who led us against Georgia Tech last week. He got his first official start in his home state, got it done, looked great. Ran the offense. It was conservative play calling. I would have liked to see him throw it more in that game, but I totally get where Gaddis and that staff is coming from. Get him confident, get him, don't have him try to do too much, especially in that first game. So, I mean, I was ecstatic with it. Looking at going into that game and looking at this game this week, I didn't think we were going to stand a chance in hell. It's going to be cold up there. It's going to be a high of, I think, 45, 50 on Saturday up in Clemson. It's going to be a 3:30 kickoff. But, man, the way we came out, it was cold on this past Saturday at Tech. I was there. The way we came out and played, we looked great all year. We haven't looked like that team the entire year. It looked like guys were finally starting to buy into Mario's system. We played a ton of true freshmen on Saturday. Who were hungry. You could tell they wanted to be on that field. We've had guys this week hit the transfer portal. You know, 5th year, 6th year type guys that have been in that program for a long time, hitting the transfer portal, announcing it. We also had guys walk out of practice, walked off the field because one of our running backs is coming back, Don Chaney, and he was getting reps above another guy, and he wasn't happy about it, so he walked off the field. That's exactly what we're trying to get out of that program, is that entitlement. We've had a bunch of parents, get on Twitter and social media this week complaining about their son's playing time and shit like that. And Mario Cristobal straight up addressed it and said, if you're not happy with the playing time that your son is receiving, you are more than welcome to come pick him up. And I love it. That's my coach, man. I will run through a wall for that guy. I can't wait for the next 8-9 years of what's going to be in store. Man, I love it. I absolutely love it. If you're not with it, get off the porch. It's a different team moving forward. I love it. So it looks like we're buying in. All right, now we're going to switch sides and go to this Clemson team. Exactly what you said. This is not the same Clemson team that we've seen these last couple years under Dabo. This team easily could be 6-4 right now. I mean, they are a couple plays away from losing to Florida State, to losing to Wake Forest, to losing to Syracuse, to losing to NC State. I mean, they are really right on that edge. They got absolutely handled by a Notre Dame team that lost to Marshall, lost to Stanford at home, almost lost to Navy. I mean, you can go on and on and on. So I'm not impressed with this Clemson team at all this year, but specifically it's the defense. And that's what I don't think people are talking about. Everybody's talking about how it's DJ's fault, and DJ this, and DJ needs to be playing better. And DJ is balling, okay? Dude's got a QB rating this year of 143. He's got 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He's got 400 yards on the ground. He's averaging 4 a carry. He's got 5 tutties on the ground. The dude is not having a bad year. 65% completion percentage. It is not his fault. It is the defense's fault solely 100% wholeheartedly. Losing Brent Venables on that defense has been absolutely massive for them. You can tell that they don't have somebody who's checking them, who's putting that pressure on them every play, every game, making sure that they're being accountable, making sure that they're being honest. And that's one thing that Venables was doing. I mean, he will yell straight up in your face. He'll run out onto that field. He wants to play. And they don't have that, and you can tell. And I think that's the biggest issue with this defense right now. Their DBs are completely frosh. I mean, they've had tons of injuries there. They've had to start a ton of young guys who have been just getting absolutely chewed up back there. Their D-line has had injuries all year long. They had 4 supposed, first-round picks going into this year on that D-line. Guys are injured. They're not playing anymore. Guys miss serious time throughout the year. And they're just not playing up to their capabilities, ultimately. And another issue is the turnovers on the offensive side. I mean, Will Shipley is fumbling the ball. He hasn't done that in the past. So I ultimately, and like you mentioned with this QB sort of controversy, as a head coach, when you do those transitions and you talk about those things, in media, in your practice rooms, in the games, and you do these actions where you're taking out a DJ and you're putting a Klubnik in, and everybody knows, that that's the guy. It's going to be the guy. He's the better guy. He's hot on the heels. DJ's balling. And, Dabo's over here giving DJ do-or-die ultimatums in these games saying, well, it's either, you're going to perform this game or maybe you're going to be done at Clemson and never play again. You better show up. Luckily, DJ showed up in the last game where, Dabo gave him that ultimatum against Louisville. But really, that's because Louisville's quarterback, Malik Cunningham, got hurt in the second quarter. Otherwise, I think that game would have been a lot different. Ultimately, again, I mean, I'm telling you, I really think it falls back on the defense. DJ in that game, 19 for 27, a tutty. They got it done. I really just think it's the defense. I think that has an opportunity for Miami to sneak in there on the road. Everybody sort of counted us out already. Clemson's probably looking ahead of us to North Carolina in that ACC championship, maybe still a shot at the playoff. So I think we could catch them slipping. I think 19.5 is extremely disrespectful. Extremely disrespectful. I was thinking it was going to be more around, 14, 13, that sort of line. And I think that's more about where it's going to end up, honestly, realistically. I think if you can get this line anywhere from 17 up, it's money. It's at 19 and a half right now. It has a shot that it could get up closer to 21, come closer to kickoff if you want to wait. But I think 19 and a half is a solid play. And honestly, I'll probably throw something on the money line, just on the slim chance that it happens. But it should be a good game all in all. I'm actually looking forward to freezing my ass off for that one, whereas last week at this time, not so much. So hopefully it's a good game, and hopefully our guys compete. That's all I really want to see. That's what I saw this last week. I was ecstatic to see it. Hopefully that energy, moves over here to this Clemson team, because that stadium's going to be rocking and they're going to want to beat us for sure. They do not like us there.
I mean, the money right now, 53% on Miami. So, I mean,
Wow.
they're kind of thinking what we're thinking in this situation. And Mike, if you look at, one of the sites I'm looking at, it kind of breaks down and compares the stats,
Hmm.
passing, rushing, turnovers. I mean, it's not that dramatic of a difference when you're talking about almost three freaking touchdowns. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just I totally agree, disrespectful. And the only reason I didn't put it up there is I just didn't. I
Oh
was
no, I mean I did. I could have.
it's
I
all
could have
against
selected
Clemson.
it. I could have selected it as one of mine, and like you said, there were games that I liked more. Um,
Yeah,
and especially when it comes to your team, your squad, it's always like
I know.
usually when you bet on them, that's when they lose, right? So it's that like the last thing that you want to do is sort of do that, and put that bad juju or jinx them or whatever. So
Absolutely,
yeah, so that's
absolutely.
ultimately why we stood him off. But man, I really do, taking the bias out of it. Everything just says that we have a shot. We have a shot to win it. So I think 19 and a half is a lot. Ultimately, I don't expect to win this game. I really don't. I think Clemson's going to do it.
Yeah, I,
Um,
I, I, I agree. I mean, I wondered, we could dig down deeper and look at, how many freaking teams has Clemson? What time's this game, Mike?
it's a 3:30 game.
I know we're rambling on, but and people can listen if they want. But so
Yeah, we game
if
their
we,
picks. They're already happy.
yeah, exactly. So if we look at Clemson's games that they have, this will really seal it for you, and you're going the window on it for sure. So if we look at Clemson's games, they beat Georgia Tech by 31.
Hmm.
They beat Furman by 23.
Hmm.
They beat Louisiana Tech by 28. Now we get into the schedule.
Yep.
They beat Wake Forest by
Oh no, yeah,
6.
that's what I mean. When you
They
go
beat
through it, they have
NC
four or
State by
five
10.
they have 4 or 5 wins that were
They
single
have not
digits.
beaten anybody. They have not beaten an ACC team, with the exception of Boston freaking College,
Hmm.
by shit.
Yeah.
So it makes me even feel more strongly in saying that they're going to cover easy in this game.
Yeah. I
So
just think this is one that they, and when I say Miami covers, that could be 31-13 with this number. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be a
yeah,
close game for this to be. It just has to be close-ish. So that's
yeah,
where I'm at with it.
touchdown almost.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. I love it. Absolutely love it. I might even try to buy it up to 21. I might see if they let me do that, and if they do, I probably will get to the window on it. I'll probably do a little some. We're gonna be at the game. We gotta do something on it, right?
Yeah, I think you should, no doubt in my
So,
mind. I feel even better about it. So
all right. Well, that's our show, sir. That's week 12. We got one more week to go next week, and then it's a
we
wrap on
did it.
the 2022 season.
And then it's playoffs and bowls, right? So
That's right.
we shall see. We shall see. So
All right,
we
sir.
put week 12 behind us. Hopefully, you
Doesn't
guys listen up. Hopefully, we got folks listening and watching and liking and following, which helps us tremendously. into next year, make it bigger and better. And, I think folks should listen to us because we agreed on a lot, and we both have different angles on these games, and I think folks can learn from it. So I think it's could be a good week for our patrons if they listen up.
Right on.
So all good. It was great seeing you again, Mike, and hopefully things will go well for our teams on Saturday. And go Gators!
Likewise, sir. Always good to see you. Go Canes, baby, and we'll see you next week. Good luck.